who wants to start? Like, do you guys have any questions? Let's start with that about stock market or businesses or uh, economy as a whole. Like, what's going on right now?
So I had a question about what's going on right now with the stock market and what's like some good investments that you can make at this moment.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Well, stock market is a pretty unique stuff because a lot of people think that you make money when the stocks go up, but actually you can make money when the stocks go down and when they're flat. So there are lots of ways how you can make money. But right now, what we see with the economy is that a lot of experts already predicting a big stock market crash. There are several reasons to it, such as big stimulus checks that are getting printed all the time. Maybe somebody's heard this term of Fed printing money. That's actually doing it helps people, but it does a lot of harm to the economy, and it may cause some. And right now, we still did not influence something that may come in the future. I mean, what Fed basically does, they're printing money with the stimulus check and lowering interest rates. So they encouraging people to spend. They're like, hey, take the money with almost zero interest rate. Hey, here is a stimulus check for you. But what we see right now, it's not working. People are still not spending. And that's why, like, if you, not that you took macroeconomics class, so like the government spending, they just spend because they want to increase the C or the consumption, so
Yeah.
that so the GDP could go back to the growth. But what we see is that people are still saving money; they're not spending it, and that's why everybody stands against the national-wide shutdown because it will just completely stop the economy. Oh, excuse me. I need to. I'll be back in a second. I'm so sorry.
By the way, you guys look like really similar. Like my siblings, like my older sister and me and my little sister, like we don't look related. Like my older sister looks like Asian, and I look like straight up Chinese. Like I'm Chinese, like I got shipped from China, and my little sister looks Filipino or Hawaiian. So all of us together, nobody thinks that we're related, and then we say we're sisters, and everyone's like, "What?" One time, my sister introduced me to her group of friends, and they were like, and she's really pretty. She's like, one of those pretty Asian girls. They're like, "Oh, what happened?" Sorry. Anyway, Dima, you were talking about nationwide shutdown and how it's gonna do the economy. Oh, what? You heard that?
uh, yeah. So yeah, basically what's going on is that they lowering interest rates and giving out stimulus checks that help people to keep themselves afloat and just to borrow money. But what actually happens with people saving money still, they actually increase the asset prices. That's what's going on because businesses have more money to reinvest with low interest rates. They basically have this funny money or cheap money that they can buy, that they can just borrow, and then in the future they're like
Did you call it
it's
funny
very
money?
cheap to borrow money. Yeah, it's an actual term, funny money.
Oh, I had no idea funny money was an actual term. Can you define that, please?
It's not an actual term. It's like I heard people saying it like that. They call it funny
Oh.
money because Fed is basically printing it, and it doesn't really has any value because the dollar is not
Oh.
backed up by gold anymore and not backed up by anything. It's an interesting thing because U.S. and a lot of world economies we live by the concept of fiat currency, which
Mhm.
means it's basically the currency has the value as long as we believe that it has value. So basically, dollar is nothing different than my cheat sheet for my exam, but we just believe that we have value, and that's why it has value. So it's pretty unstable as you may as you may think about it right now, because as long as we stop believing in it, it loses the value completely. And basically, in the videos and like books I read, they basically draw. I don't know where to draw it. Like just a little thing. So basically, they draw this thing. So imagine that this thing is $1, and this big triangle is the economy. Because of the new deposits that banks create, the Fed creates by printing money, this triangle expands because the asset prices increases, stock market increases, real estate price increases, while we're still holding why our economy is still in a good shape right now, because dollar value is really high. It's a very valuable currency right now because oil is traded in dollars, everything internationally is traded in dollars. It's a world currency. But we're living on dollar. As soon as people stop believing in it, it just falls. There will be nothing to hold this big triangle. And the more it becomes, the harder it is to keep it in balance.
Was
So
that
that's basically how it
was
is
that
right
on
now.
your cheat sheet? Did you just show us your cheat sheet?
Yeah, it's for my accounting.
This meeting's recorded. Oh my god. Can't believe you
Yeah,
did that.
so that's basically what's happening. So Fed is printing money. Basically, they just create more deposits. These deposits are called, back to your question, Kay, about funny money because there is no actual money. They just print some digits, and we trade what people call IOUs.
Oh yeah, IOUs, yeah.
You heard this
Oh,
term? For
mhm.
everyone, this is how it looks. It's just IOUs. That's what we're trading in. Basically, when we do our deposit through our credit card, for example, we're going to KFC and we're buying a T-bone steak, for example, for ourselves.
Mhm.
Basically, we have money in our bank account, which is basically fuzzy money, funny money, cheap money, fugazis, whatever you can call it. It just doesn't exist. It's just some digits. And basically, what's happening when you do the transaction is that you're transferring. So bank owes you this money, and you transfer this IOU to the QFC. So now bank owes this money to QFC, not to you. So that's how the transaction works, and that's where the term funny money comes from.
Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, no
Wait, by the
problem.
way, do you have a lot of suits?
It's only one.
I was gonna say, I think I've seen that before, but it's nice. You dress up all the time.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's I used it
Okay, well, hey, I
on the
wasn't calling
elections.
him out.
Yeah.
I was saying he wears a suit. It's nice, but I'm a fashion person. Okay, I dress up all the time. So I was like, I think I've seen that color before. Yeah, don't
I
ask me.
just have a DECA competition in like half an hour, so I'll have to go at like 3:30. So I'm sorry for that. So let's push every single piece of information out of me while I'm still here. So if you have any other questions about economy, let's just talk about it because it's a very interesting topic. So yeah, basically what happens right now, I didn't explain like why, how is it actually? Well, I kind of explained why it's bad, but like basically what people are predicting right now, there can be two scenarios that can happen to us in this and the couple of upcoming years. Basically there's two scenarios. It's either deflationary depression or hyperinflation. That's what uh, skeptics say that don't believe the dollar will have any value in like a year. uh, Other people who believe in cycles, like for example, what was his name, Harry Dent, the author
How
of
many
Spending
books
Ways.
do you have? I'm sorry. Just like you're like, oh wait, imagine about what I'm talking about. Pulls up a book like you have like the book near you on top of that.
Oh yeah, that's the one I'm reading right now. It's called Spending Waves. It's
Are you a
about
fast reader?
analyzing demographics to make predictions about the economical outcomes.
Are you
Basically, it
fast?
says we had what?
Are you a fast reader?
Not really, but I
Like
still
like I
like it.
think you read like at least 15 books this month. I mean, you show me book after book, and then you're referencing books. I'm like, I don't know how
It's
you do it.
mainly I'm reading pretty slow right now, but I listen to a lot of economical podcasts and I watch YouTube videos from Robert Kiyosaki or George, forgot the last name, Peter Schiff. There are a lot of guys that
Are
I
you
listen
a
to.
major in economics?
That's my second choice. Like, if I will not get into Foster, I will go to econ.
Wait, what were you planning on doing for your major?
I'm planning to go to for business major in Foster because they have a finance
Oh, so you want to do
option. I want to
finance
take the finance option. Yeah,
and then econ.
I want to take finance and information systems, but if I will not get into Foster, I will take econ at UW. So yeah,
Man.
basically, if coming back to hyperinflation scenario or deflationary scenario, basically people say who believe in deflation outcome, they believe that banks will default due to low interest rates that can go below zero and become a negative interest rates. The asset prices are already blowing up too much, and it looks like Japan in 1990s. Basically, what happened in Japan, they were so fast growing that and such a fast growing manufacturer, and they were also printing money. Basically, what happened, the asset prices went through the roof, and like they even promoted the idea of generational mortgage. Can you imagine that? So, for example, if your grandfather took a mortgage, you would be the one who would finally pay it off. And the whole region near the Emperor of Palos cost its cost was more than the state of California itself. So that's how big of inflation, not inflation, asset prices were, asset bubble. Basically, looks like a little bit looks like US nowadays with all the quantitative easing that people that Fed does, aka stimulus checks.
Mm-hmm.
Basically looks like this. Their incentive is to make us as consumers to spend more in order to boost up businesses,
Yeah.
boost up sales, boost up the economy, and make the GDP grow. The problem is we're not spending right now. There are some reasons for that. I will go like besides of us just scared of uncertainty with COVID. Um, So basically, deflationary scenario is that at some point, because of the negative interest rates, banks will default. Commercial banks will default. Dollar price will go up, but the asset prices will fall tremendously. It kind of happened in 1930s during the Great Depression. That the asset prices, home prices, business prices all started falling. A lot of people got laid off. They started taking money from their savings account in banks. Banks ran out of reserves. They got closed. People got left over without any money on hand. And basically, yeah, that's awful. People think that there are also evidence that with increase in asset prices, social unrest is increasing too. As we saw all those BLM protests, another protest going on pretty regularly. Social unrest is also growing. So some people say that even it can even cause a civil war. I don't really believe in it, but some people believe. They also say that because of the dollar potentially losing its value, they predict that gold prices will go up to 5,000 per ounce. Right now, it's traded at almost 2,000. It's already an increase in like $600 over the year.
When you're talking about, oh, sorry, are you continuing?
No, ask your question.
So I heard something about like that the economy now is even worse than it was in the Great Depression. Is this a true or false fact?
I mean, it depends on what you believe into. So,
Because I've heard conflicting stuff.
People who believe in MMT or modern monetary theory, how it works, basically that basically how it works, we get out of golden standard and we're now able to print as much money as we want. We are not scared of that because we can just print money to cover it.
Just roll it over, right?
Roll it over, yeah. Fed's printing machine. That's how the economy works right now. The other people say that it was the worst decision that have ever been made in 1970s when Nixon took US out of the golden standard. That's when like we started believing in the fiat currency stuff. It's wonderful how like dollar became the world currency because it was the last currency that was backed up by gold. It was not even dollar as a currency. Dollar was a certificate that certifies that you own a certain amount of gold. That's what dollar was. It was not a currency, it was a certificate.
Mhm.
And people, because it was hard to carry like golden bags with you, so they were trading those certificates with each other. But after 1970s, it became a currency, it became a fiat currency. So as long as people believe that it's a good currency and a strong currency, they will have demand for it. Therefore, the price of the dollar will remain strong. But yeah, so that's one of the scenarios which will be a deflationary depression. Another scenario is hyperinflation. It's basically if we just stop doing what we're doing right now and try to inflate our debt out. So basically, well, most of you know what inflation is and what hyperinflation is. Some of the examples are Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Russia in the 1990s, Germany after the First World War. Hyperinflation, basically dollar or the currency loses its value every day. So yeah, we got some questions.
Yeah, there was a question in the chat. Just check it.
Oh, sure. If people are so the question is, if people are saving money for lack of spending, would that help the economy once the economy opens up? Well, it's a hard question because it does damage to the economy, the fact that we're not spending money, that we're saving it. So basically, they might not get anything out if the banks default due into a deflationary scenario. So when the economy opens up, your savings may, of course, help you, but we basically we live in the concept where we believe in inflationary economy. So basically, saving your money in the bank account might not be the best idea if you believe in inflation, because basically in your bank, your money stays the same value, whereas the prices on goods constantly grow up for like 1 to 3% annually. And so basically, even though you have the same amount of money on your bank account, your buying power is now much less than it was before. The lack of spending is basically why we're having the problem right now. So according to, there is a theory that sounds pretty good actually. So according to Harry Dent, like this book Spending Waves, I didn't finish it, but so far as I read it, basically he says that after the World War II, there was a baby boom, which made a huge increase in demographics of the country, which made people which created a big flow of new workers, a big flow of new people. And so they peaked at around 1960s. But basically, what happens is there is a graph that shows the spending trend. It shows how much we tend to spend by age. It looks like this. So basically, most of our spending comes to when we're a family and around 46, 50 years old, because we have kids who have to go to college. With college prices increasing, that means that they're the peak years of spending. But look what happens after that. When you're 50 plus, your spending decreases tremendously because your kids have moved out. You don't have any debts that you have to pay out for your, for example, for your house. You just live with your spouse or with your whoever, just alone, and try to save money for the retirement. So basically, yeah, that's what happens. People tend to stop spending after they start spending less after the age of 50s. And so when taking that into consideration, is thinking that the last generation of boomers were born and picked around 1960s, it means they're more than 50 and around 60 years old, 60 years plus right now. And according to this graph, they tend to save because of their retirement savings and stuff like this. And basically what it means and they were the biggest generation that was born after the war. That's why we have this big impact. So this huge generation of boomers who were born right now, because of their age, they try to save money for their retirement. and that's why we see this overall decrease in consumption and an increase in savings. And basically, when Fed starts printing more money, and those people just take this money and just put it into their savings account because they're scared of their retirement. And okay, I'm sorry. 1 second, please. I'm sorry. I had to give the keys. Okay, so anybody have? I hope this answered your question, Ramon. That that's nothing bad that you're a boomer. Like, I mean, but like old, but like still, it's nothing bad with it.
Wait, I had a question. You said that that people are saving a lot right now, but isn't e-commerce on its like high? Isn't like aren't people buying more
E-commerce
than
is
ever?
high and it's booming. It's kind of new industry. Well, look at the boomers right now. They're not really, most of them, not most of them, some part of them are still kind of scared of new technology, and they're not always up to date with new technologies coming out. Even though they're using that still because of their savings, they're not spending much in it. The main e-commerce consumers are millennials or like Gen Z that's growing up right now. So it's still like this e-commerce boom. It does not encourage old people to spend more. They still are afraid of their retirement account because they were basically there is it's a whole new topic with the retirement accounts because it's one of the worst thing you can invest your money in. This 401k plans basically. It's basically, maybe a lot of people heard about the experiment that they said that they basically asked a hedge fund manager to like pick the stocks and the monkey to randomly pick the stocks, and the results were like like on short-term monkey, I think it outplayed a professional hedge fund manager. So like if you would pick your own stocks, you would still be as successful as the hedge fund manager, most likely, but you would not pay those fees that they take from you for keeping your 401k account, for example. That's just, I don't know how I went into this topic, I'm sorry. So, Ramon is asking another question. Do you think the dollar value is increasing based on vaccine speculation? That's a good question. I feel like, even though value of dollar may be increasing right now, it is certainly increasing due to some due to like the upcoming crisis that we are facing right now, and with low interest rates and like dollar is increasing its value because we don't see inflation as we used to. So the normal inflation that the Fed regulates is around 2 to 3% annually, but for several years already, it have been like the inflation have been at around 1%, all and steadily decreasing to zero, and that's bad because we're heading into deflation. So due to that, of course, the dollar is increasing value because the buying power is not falling with the same rate as it was before. And the vaccine speculation, they may, of course, boost the dollar price if the international countries, if the countries would like to buy it from us. Of course, they would trade it in dollars, and of course, I think it would increase the value of dollar. But still, the question is how stable is the dollar right now? And with the fiat concept that we're facing right now, I would not say that any currency is stable right now. So yeah, it's just as I said before, it depends on how much we believe in dollar, how much people around the world believe that dollar is strong or any other currency is strong. Thank you. So I have like 2 minutes left, so let's do like one last question about yeah. So any last questions? I'm so sorry, I need to go for a DECA competition. So like any last question for me? Maybe. So So no questions. Thank you, Ramon. Okay. What?
Oh, I have a question. So what would you say is the direction we're heading in terms of the economy?
I would say that the crash is yet to come. So I would say even though the stock market is increasing, the value of stocks is increasing. I feel like we still did not face the real crash, even though there's a lot of people got laid off. The trends of people infected by COVID, they're rising every day, and we failed at stopping those rates. I think we peaked at 180,000 people per day. That's peak uncertainty. I feel like it's not my words. I visited some webinars from Harry Dent, and he predicted that the crash will come at around mid-December, and it's a great time to sell off or buy some bonds to save up your money, like TLT bonds or something like that. I think it's 30-year bonds, just for 2 years, and sell them after 2 years because bonds are trash. Yeah, but what he said is basically he's the guy who, like, the author of this book of Spending Waves. He's a cyclical guy who studies cycles for like more than 40 or like maybe 45 years. He predicted such crashes as Japanese crash, and he predicts this one to happen by the end of the 2020, and that he predicts that this crash will start around end of 2020, and we will hit the ground bottom at around 2022, and then we'll go up. So that's what he predicts. And a follow-up, what is the best investment to navigate a future crash? Mutual funds, bonds, stocks for December 2020. Well, what he recommended is try to allocate some money into cash, try to have some money in bonds for a 2-year period until the crash is over, and then you have to take money out of bonds and like invest into the cheap stock market and cheap stocks. The other good investment that you may look at may be gold and silver, because if you believe that dollar will lose its value completely, it will happen. Gold will not care about it. Gold is gold. Gold is pure money. So this is the way how you can save. But there is a difference between GLD, like in Robinhood, and the real gold. Because GLD, it's an ETF or exchange traded fund. Basically, you invest your money into an index fund or exchange traded fund that tracks the price of gold. So basically, you put money into a money bucket and take money out. You don't really own gold. So yeah, that's what you have to be mind of. Other stocks that you may be interested in are gold mining companies. For example, Warren Buffett just bought a lot of shares recently of Golden Money. I think it's Barrick Gold. That might be something that you may be interested in. But of course, don't take my words as the expert words. Always make your own research. Don't listen to me. I'm not an expert in any way. It's just what I know so far. Ramon said bonds are good now, but once interest rates go up, bonds will not become as valuable. That's true, yeah. That's true. Well, okay, I need to go. Thank you so much for your questions. It's not the end of the meeting. We still have wonderful officers as Nada here. We have Kay, we have Karina and Marina, but I think they need to go soon too. But we will have Kay and Nada here who can talk about business, who can talk about business, basically, right? Or whatever they want to talk about. So, yep, thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you all. It's the last meeting of this quarter, but we have a lot of plans upcoming in winter, so I hope to see you all there. So thank you so much for coming, but I really have to run. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dima.
Bye-bye.
All the work. Okay. All right, everyone. So now that it's just us, we have the general topics of U.S. economy, and stock market bonds like Dima was talking about. But in terms of us, Dima's more of an expert when it comes to that sort of field since he consumes it on a daily basis due to his interest. So we can talk about business, probably lean towards business a lot more since we're more of the business majors, where Dima's more economic, stock market, investing in cryptocurrency. So that's not much of our kind of field. But and if anyone has any business questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer. Nada as well, and Marina if she feels. Marina and Karina if they feel like they would like to add anything. Does anyone have any questions? Nobody has any questions. Like I just specifically asked for you guys to give me questions, and you guys have nothing so far. Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm not a business person. I'm not in business degree, and I'm not going for it. But that was asked the question, what is like what is economy going for, like down or up with like, or what should we invest in? And I can say, I think our world is. Why are you guys laughing? Our world's like changing every day, and I don't think there's like a specific thing we should be focusing on right now, or like where to invest and stuff like that. Maybe there is business people do know better, but I think also that each day everything changes, and like tomorrow can be different situation at all. So yeah, I just want to add this, but that's it.
Oh, and in terms of so Ramon just said preparing for a crash. So in the way the economy is heading, we may have a crash. It will take a while for us to get back up on our feet, as you say. Everything keeps changing. By the time we do, and our economy is able to work at its fullest, it will not work in the way it used to. So many businesses have already closed down, and with those less restaurants and businesses available, that's less opportunity for people to invest in and spend money on. And so the less there is available, the less we do. And so I just feel like, yes, we should prepare for a crash. So people are investing in in stocks because bonds are for the long term. But if the way the economy is now, before people would just invest because the economy was just the way it was. Now that times have changed, thinking about where to put your retirement money is a big issue. There are a lot of older people, and in this time, it's a big issue about investing. Investing is important to them. They need something for their retirement. And if the stock market crashes, companies are going up and down, scandals are happening. I mean, you would really have to go focus on a financial advisor or an economist who would help you be able to do what you need in order to invest well, is what you're saying. And also, a lot of people are saving. They're trying to change banks, trying to go to a bank that helps them save money. Right now, groceries are more expensive. I mean, that's just daily necessities. So, on top of that, like, your expenses have already increased. So really, really, that's why investing and saving is really key topics right now. Money is a key topic for everyone right now. Jobs are being lost. Money, money, money. That is our main focus and because of that, it's become political. People are so focused on money that they care about whatever people say about money now, even more than ever. So there's bound to be a crash. People, whenever something happens, people already stock up like crazy. People get so crazy that they buy influx of stuff, and that creates different goods and production in it. And because of how unstable we are, you can never predict what's going to happen. And so I would say that it is an everyday thing. I just say, if you're thinking about investing in a company, invest in something that's stable. Invest in Google, invest in Facebook, something that isn't going to change and that for sure is going to be there by the end in the long run. You would have to invest in those things and then save your money. You never know what's going to happen. Like, there will be so many things you're gonna have to pay for that you may not know you need to pay for. People are losing homes, houses are up on the market. I mean, you never know. So, yeah, I'd say that is an answer to your question, Marina, and combination of Ramon's preparing for the crash, because I feel like, and especially with Dima's like talk, it just increases the chances. It just further projects the circumstances we're going to end up in. Would this trend continue during the crash? I believe so. If there is already inflation and if there is a crash, I mean, the moment that gets out, and that has nothing to do with just business people. The moment it gets out that there's an economic crash, people are gonna go ballistic. Normal people, who get crazy, people who are sane of mind, thinking, oh, I need to get what I need because other people are gonna do that, and then all of a sudden, things are gonna go haywire. And people are gonna overbuy, and already with the inflation, so they're gonna have put more inflation, kind of like they did when COVID first started. It's just reactionary, and so on top of that, we have to prepare to prepare. So yes, I can completely see that happening. And people panic. People do crazy things. People will start selling their stock. And that'd be the perfect time to buy, but you're in an economic crash. So it's like all these things to consider. You really have to do it like day by day, and as monthly or weekly as much as you can, is to observe the market and to observe the news and the politics, because if somebody says something in politics, that immediately reflects into the market. That's why politicians try to not speak about the market as much, so then whatever they say doesn't make a company crash or anything. So whatever's being spoken does affect what happens money wise if you do have stock. So that's also something to focus on as well. So, and especially during that trend, politicians and people are going to have to come out and say something, and what's being said will affect whatever's happening. It's just unpredictable after unpredictable, and you just have to be flexible and bend your money and um your plan, your retirement, your plan. You just have to be able to bend it at will. It's difficult, but if you have a financial advisor, that would be most helpful, because they're already equipped to helping you gain money. So their only other problem is to just help you navigate this process. And it's not something a regular person is 100% capable of doing by themselves, unless they're like Dima, who just does it on his free time and invests and looks at it. Oh my God, you're here! Oh my God, I thought you had your deck a thing, Dima. Why are you here?
No, I'm not here. I think he just wrote it in the chat.
Oh, what? Oh, he just wrote it just now. Yeah, okay. But yeah. Yeah, Nada, you said people are gonna demand less goods, so companies will set prices high prices to low sales. Yeah, actually it's different. Some people aren't demanding, or there isn't a demand for some of the stuff that we usually would need in this day and age. There's a high demand for cleaning supplies, but there won't be high demand for like children's toys, and so the market is being affected by the demands, and so and having high prices right now is not something that people want, because nobody's going to really buy things at high prices. That's why luxury businesses have been closing down. Like Men's Warehouse, that they do suits, they've been closing down. Because people aren't buying luxury because they don't need it. Especially even rich people, they don't need to buy anymore. I mean, they can't even go out to shop. So it's really dependent on the circumstances. But yes, in a way, depending on the market, the prices and the goods will be different based on demand. Yeah, Ramon, yes, the crash is going to be messy. It's going to be very messy and unpredictable. You don't know what is going to be affected. Like if with COVID, you didn't think toilet paper was going to be an issue Toilet paper has nothing to do with protecting you from COVID or having any effect on what COVID could do for you, but that just randomly got sold out all over the country. And see, you wouldn't have thought if you were able to predict that would be good, that would be gone out of necessity. So that in a way is what I'm saying. It's unpredictable. Everything's up in the air, especially with money and with the time things are changing like that. I don't know why, but things are quick these days. one scandal, your business is down. It's crazy. People are basically getting robbed by the federal government. Who stole my pension? It's a book. It's Jima. If anyone wants to check in the chat, Jima's offering shows and podcasts and books you can read. Yes, I think that what we're saying pretty often is that a crash is going to come. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that 100%. We're already, a lot of people are already struggling financially. There's already so much financial aid, stimulus checks going out, so people can spend money, and they won't spend money in the markets they need to. We're losing more than we are gaining, and so we're going to end up losing more than we can gain, and then that crash will happen. It will be messy. It will be unpredictable. That's why people are stocking up. There are people that have planned out for the zombie apocalypse, and they've planned for moments like this. They've already prepared a whole bunker and everything. So those people are good. But normal people are gonna have to navigate this a lot harder. Definitely for sure. I think what Dima was saying about bonds and stocks. For sure, bonds are for the long run. Right now, I think stocks are better, and also because e-commerce is up, is that you can invest in an e-commerce company. You can invest in technology. They're predictable trends based on the paths we're going. I mean, technology is already on the rise. It's been integrated everywhere, so you know to invest in technology company is going to gain you money in the long run. Things like that are not very hard to put your money into and put your investments into. And so yeah, definitely for sure, I think stocks at this time are the best. And really check the company. Like Boeing, saying you invest in Boeing now, that's not really a great idea because they've had a lot of scandals, and they had another one, you lose a lot. So you really got to do research as well. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm just kind of rolling off here, kind of up in the air. Buy low, sell high. Yes. Yes. There are a lot of, especially in times of panic, people are really they'll just sell their stock. They just think that they won't get a better price. And so for a lot of people, that's the best. They can take advantage. They can just randomly, and you know how hard it is to get stock in especially big companies like Microsoft. If somebody sold it because they're like, oh, COVID, you'd be like, that's perfect. I can get a Microsoft stock. There's a lot to be taken advantage of in the stock and e-commerce right now, for sure. I mean, no, Boeing is a pretty good company. Yes, Boeing is great. They've worked it out. But I'm just saying that when the scandal first happened, they dropped so much, and people were selling their stock. And so I'm just saying, if your repetition of scandal isn't something to look for. Just saying that just to know that people are getting called up for all sorts of things, like Aunt Jemima, they've gotten rid of their logo, and so just like things like that cause the stock to change. And so you should be cognizant of what issues there are in the present age, and what millennials and Gen Y and all that, what are their concerns, that so that when you invest in a company, it's not going to affect you. And Boeing has now got their stuff together, so Boeing's still a good company and you can still invest in them. I'm just saying, just to keep those things in mind. Any technology company, there's so many companies out there, many companies during COVID, and it's really a struggle for them, especially startups and everything. They invest all their money in time, and it's, yeah.
I mean, I went to Leavenworth even like yesterday, and a lot of restaurants, they're like selling their business,
And it's like really sad how they were waiting the whole year for, like, Leavenworth. People go there during Christmas because it's, I mean, it's really nice there. And it's really sad how businesses just closing up because they don't have any money to pay their rent and expenses. But I mean, on another hand, look at Amazon, because I have a friend and he has like 4 businesses and they're all connected. So the biggest business, it's a really big one, and it's about delivery for Amazon. And he just gets so much money. Like he has only profit because of coronavirus, and I mean Amazon all does. So I think it's a really good point to start working with Amazon, like delivery stuff, because of coronavirus.
And I mentioned this on something else. I had my presentation. I've also mentioned that when we as our I say our society has started moving towards e-commerce, but also delivery and product. I think I mentioned this. I'll mention it again. Is that having good product is good, but people nowadays want something simpler. They want something easy, quick. I guess we're getting more impatient or something, but we want delivery. Like, people are getting their groceries delivered. That wasn't a thing, but now it's a thing. People like delivery. So investing in delivery and maybe even creating your own delivery company is huge. I'm talking to this new startup company, and they are doing ice cream, but they're delivering ice cream. It's now to the point where you don't need to go and buy it at the grocery store. You can have ice cream delivered to you. And so now so if you have a good product, like you have a good ice cream and you can deliver, that's huge. A product and delivery is huge. So I mean, all those restaurants, they have Uber Eats and all those things because they need the delivery process. They have the product, they just need the delivery. So now it's in terms of companies working together, or you providing your own product and delivery. And it's important. It's essential for a business to survive. That's why all those mom and pop places are closing and work with people to get that delivery. Because, say a restaurant never had any delivery company, and they'd end up closing down because nobody's going to their shop to eat because they're worried about COVID. But if they had applied and went on like Uber Eats, and somebody scrolls through finding something to eat, they'll click on their company and go through the process, and they'll get money that way. Delivery is really essential. And so, yeah, and a lot of places are closing down. Where do you think all that money is going to be spent? Where does all that money go? It doesn't go anywhere because there's nowhere to spend it on. So we're getting less and less options too. I think that's a struggle as well. So some people are setting their prices high. Some people are setting them really low. So then they get quantity of buyers. And yeah, and the only places that are thriving are Amazon and like online shops. They're just doing insanely well, and so they're buying more commercials, and everything is just online. So physically, all the physical stores and all the physical stuff, they're on a downfall, really. Online, that's where people will really do their best. All right, Corinna, I'll see you later. Thank you for all your work. Marina, are you staying or are you going as well?
No, I'm staying.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? I'm just kind of an open book. I'll just say whatever. I don't. Nana, do you have anything to say? Marina, do you have anything to say? I feel like I've been eating all your guys' time.
No, don't worry. Great points. No, I don't have anything to say. Thank you so much for sharing all this.
Do you guys, Marina, do you have anything to say?
No, I don't really have anything to say. I also kind of just listening and getting some information.
Does anyone have any questions for me to answer? Or you guys want to, give me a question? Just a random question. It could be anything.
Well, I'm not really business related. That's why it's kind of hard for me to ask.
Well, I mean, you don't have to be a business person to ask questions about business, There's a lot of people ask questions and they don't really know about business. And so I think it'd be helpful. I mean, you don't have to, I'm not like Dima. Dima, that's a whole thing. So I can see your perspective, if that makes sense, if you ever have any questions.
If I have, I will ask. But like right now, you guys been like talking about some like things, especially like Dima. That I'm like, oh my god, what is that?
No, that's really overwhelming. That's just going on with the statistics, the trends, and market trends are just insane. That it's so hard to predict, and some people live to predict it, and they have to check their phone all the time, just to constantly keep up with how fast it moves.
Yeah.
That is something that not a normal person or even business people would know. That's really specific towards economic and trends and people decisions and reactions and emotions and all that. And it's a more complicated field. And so, a regular person would, I mean, business people generally know, but they wouldn't go into that much detail. It's kind of like, you're talking to a chem major, and you're like, what? I know Bill Nye. I don't know that much,
Like you guys are talking about business, you're like, oh my god, it's so like good for economy for like deliveries and stuff. And I'm like, from my perspective, I'm like, no, people are gonna be even like lazy to go out for the grocery store. So like, I literally have another perspective of like all of it.
That's what I'm saying. So people they ease of access. They want, things at home, things delivered. They don't want to go out and get things. Restaurants were closing. Like Applebee's just had a thing where they were closing down their restaurants because people weren't going out to eat. They were getting delivery. So that's the thing, is that delivery is huge, is what I'm saying. Maybe it's our generation. We know a lot of kids our age are kind of lazy, so they just order Uber Eats and they're at home watching Netflix. But I'm just saying, because of that, we have a trend. We have something going on. We can see where it's going. And so that's why I said with delivery and product is super important. Delivery is everywhere. I mean, there's so many delivery apps. There's so many people to pick you up, so you don't have to ask your friends. I mean, there's so many things to deliver. There's people to deliver goods, food, services. So, and it's expanding. So that's why I kind of said that. But what is your perspective on that?
Oh, my perspective is just different because, as I said, I'm not a business person. So what I'm just seeing, like with this deliveries and all this stuff, I'm taking psychology class right now. Psychology 202 is like a science class about the brain, some diseases and all this stuff. So in my head, like while I'm learning all this stuff, and I'm like hearing and experiencing this like COVID situation and this like deliveries being more in use, it's just hard for me to like understand it in business perspective. But for me, it's just problems for like people's health, for example, more, and the way they develop themselves. So like for me, it's just like another way. But I also feel that you're saying about like expanding deliveries and all this stuff. So I kind of understand what you mean.
Well, I think in a psychology sense was that these were issues before COVID. Places were closing down before COVID. Shopping malls were closing down because people are shopping online. It's easier, it's simpler. People just like the ease of access, is kind of what I was saying. And so some people are lazy, some people just don't want to bother going out and stressing and going through all that process when they can just do it on their own time at home and not be stressed out or something. And so it became more increasingly common as the generations came by. And I mean, you have kids, in kindergarten, they have their own phone, they have their own iPad, like, and now kids in elementary school are getting technology. They're getting like their own computer to use at home. I mean, middle school students, high school students. I'm saying you can see the progression in the way people are just technology and having things simple and getting things delivered and not having to do as much. I mean, there's jobs that didn't exist that exist now. I mean, people can stand in line for you, so to get limited edition shoes, so you don't have to do it. So people just don't do as much, and so I just feel like that is the psychology part, and that adds into the business part, where because of that, we can provide a service that was never there before. Now that people don't want to go out of their houses to do things, we can provide a service for delivery, so then we can fulfill that demand. There's a demand for delivery, so it's being fulfilled by people. and that's just it. And people start up companies, people start up things to fulfill demands people are having and changing by every generation, every day. So I think that is the non-business aspect of it. And because of that, businesses are profiting. You know, like Amazon's booming, and they're just a delivery. They just do delivery. But I mean, you know, just to take that in as a reason to why e-commerce and business and people and psychology is just kind of working its way. And I believe that after this incident, some people are going to study this. It's going to be just interesting to see the trends and the changes in people. And really, people affect business 100%. It's all people. If people boycott a business, the business is done. You know, people are like, I want a women-supported business only. That demand will be fulfilled, and there'll be an only women business. And then, you know, just things keep happening because of people. And so, if you think about it, you know, your friend's lazy, and then when get off the couch, wants to order pizza. He's calling Pizza Hut. Pizza has delivery. They have product. He's good. You know, that's just the everyday thing. And then that just feeds into everything else about business. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do I make any sense? Did I make any sense?
I mean, you're just stating facts. Like that's what it is in our world right now. So I cannot like disagree or agree with that. It's just facts.
Okay.
I just don't like what is happening. Like it's not. I don't like deliveries. I don't like studying online. I don't like ordering online. Better in person. Like maybe I'm just an old vision person. I don't know, but like for me, for the better quality, it was always better to like come to the place to order, or like to study with a person so a person can do it in person, explaining things. So like for me personally, so for me it's just like the bad thing happening, like deliveries. Like it's really helpful sometimes, and it has a positive side. It's just easier, maybe faster, and all this stuff. But like I don't know, I don't like it. So yeah, for me it's just like not a good thing that happening to our world right now. But it's what it is.
I can totally see where you're coming from. You know, in terms of our society, we are moving to be more distant. We're moving to less interactions. We're having robots, you know, like technology cashiers instead of talking to a cashier. Hey, how's your day? And all that doesn't happen anymore. We're drastically moving, and because of COVID, we're doing it really quickly. E-commerce was not as big of a market as it is now, and now that businesses were already struggling to get people to come in person, now it's even more of a struggle. And so, yes, it is moving really quickly. And I prefer, you know, shopping in person, trying on new things. I also like seeing the clothing I'm gonna buy. So seeing how it looks on me, comparing, buying it on sale. The sales in person are better than the sales online. You know, things like that. But there are perks and benefits, and if there's a demand for in person, there will end up being something in person for people to go to. There's some places that don't even have physical businesses. They just operate online 100%. So it is getting harder to find places with physical, just physical buildings or physical offices and locations. And so, yeah, for me though, I still like doing things in person. So I will, you know, invest my time to do that. So then I can support the physical in-person businesses. So then they continue to thrive. So then I can go back there. That's just it. And everyone's different. But yeah, I think we're getting it's getting a little tougher. We're getting to the, you know, by now people thought we were going to be on, you know, flying cars and stuff. But I feel like we're getting towards AI and all that stuff. Virtual reality is getting even better. Technology is getting better. Your phone is getting more well equipped. But you know, by the time we have, you know, our kids are like 40, the phone's gonna be like also activated weapon as well as a shield. It could be. You don't ever know where technology is gonna end up and what trends are gonna happen. But yeah, it's insane. It's really insane. I can see I also struggle with it too. But in terms of business, If you open a business now, you do e-commerce, you sell pins, I mean, you can make a lot of money. I mean, not only are people buying things they don't need, but people are buying things they need. So it's a weird combination. My friend pins, she loves them. She bought like $1,000. It's just like just on pins, but there's something for everyone. Maybe if you had your own business operated online, it wouldn't be so bad to see that kind of interaction, and especially if people are making money. People are making money. They aren't complaining. Does anyone have any other comments, any side things? Nobody? No questions or anything? All right. So we've been talking. So I know Dimitri has left. He left at 3:30, and it's 4. It's been an hour or so, and I think that we had a great talk. I just talked about random stuff. I just went on tangents. I ate up time. I may not be as well equipped when it comes to stocks, bonds, but I understand the general concepts and trends, and I just have my own different perspective when it comes to business, and I'm more people focused when it comes to it. So I understand where people are coming from and why they're making the decisions and how it affects businesses. So what's going to happen? That's just kind of my thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed our conversations. It felt like 2 different halves. One which had more statistics and facts, and the other one was more broad in general about people and stuff and trends. So I think we had a great talk, and this will be our last meeting for this quarter, as Thanksgiving's coming up, Christmas, finals, stack after stack, and so I bet people are going to want to enjoy Thanksgiving, their family, enjoy Christmas, get their finals done. School's going to be over. There'll be no need to meet up and gather an audience. And thank you guys for coming. I really enjoyed this talk. I think everyone's perspective is really interesting. And thank you, Marina, for your perspective. Thank you, Ramon, for your questions. And we hope to see you guys in the next quarter when we pick up our meetings again, which will be on our Instagram and our Facebook. We even have a LinkedIn. You can add us on LinkedIn.
We even have a YouTube channel. So if
oh
you
my
want
gosh, we're so progressive. We're so hip and young. We have all that social media stuff. Man, it's nice to be young. I'm kidding. Anyway, no, thank you, everyone. Yeah, it just felt like, people were just bringing up the concerns, and, you don't have to be full business focused in order to ask business questions. I mean, I still ask questions, and I don't fully know what business is sometimes. It's always different for everybody. So, all right, guys, this was a great talk. I think we learned a lot, especially from Dima. Thanks to him, and he's not here right now, but we'll let him know he did a great job. But thank you, everyone, for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I hope to see everyone next quarter.
Thank you, guys.
Please enjoy your holidays.
Yeah,
have a great time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Enjoy the weekend.
Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.